Hi guys, hope you're doing great. So let's learn this soft, subtle Indian bridal look. I'm using MAC Prep and Prime. It is my favorite go-to skin prep product. It really hydrates the skin beautifully. I'm taking it on the palette and I'm applying it with the help of brush. You can do it with fingers also. Both are absolutely fine ways to work ahead on the skin. And this really hydrates because it's prep and prime both, so it does the beautiful job of preparing the client's skin, and her skin is not dry, it's a normal skin. So you can see how I'm applying the product. Post this, I will be actually using a very favorite concealer, which is from Krylon. It is 626D. It is a beautiful color because it has a lot of peach apricot undertone, and it really helps to neutralize flaws. And one thing that I don't prefer using correctors on people who are not having any excess dark circles or pigmentation. I prefer using concealer. That way my one layer is reduced and my makeup looks not cakey. So that is also one of the ways to do that soft subtle look. I am kind of pushing the product into the skin, so you can see how it has taken care of her flaws. They were not very excessive, but yes, it has cleaned up her face. And now I'm using this foundation from Forever 52. It is 10.3 in the shade caramel, and I'm using foundation brush for the application, and I'll be using it on the entire face. Make sure that you apply the product on the uh, folds of the nose as well. People miss on that part. It's very important. We've already prepared her neck and we've made her wear jewelry and all. So you can see how I'm applying the foundation with the help of brush, and make sure there's no part which you have not kind of applied product. Now with the help of damp beauty blender, it's very important to prepare your blender in advance when you're starting up with the makeup. Always make sure that it's kind of washed nicely and the excess water is squeezed out. So that's the right definition of a damp beauty blender. You can see how I'm packing it under the eyes, and of course I'll take a good soft stippling motion, some time to push the product into the skin so that foundation and her skin kind of becomes one, and it starts looking like it's really kind of nicely done and smoothly settled on the skin. So the more softly you stipple, make sure you apply product everywhere. So I'm using now almond shade, which is from Too Faced, and I've used it as a highlighter to forward her features. So under the eyes, on the cupid, on the chin, on the forehead, this will enhance her complexion. You know how highlighting technique gives us the advantage of enhancing the complexion. So I'm packing the product. You can see how beautifully it has got absorbed into the skin. Anyways, Too Faced products are very good. The shade which I used was almond, and you can see how the product has gone and pushed into the skin. So we will apply the cheek tint. It will ensure the longevity. Whenever you apply any base, it's called underpainting also, and it ensures that the blush on stays for the bride throughout her event. So this is one of the ways to ensure the longevity of the blush on. And you can see how I'm blending it with the same blender. We have pushed it nicely into the skin, and do it back and forth. So now I'm using contour, and this is a palette from Krylon, and I'm using an angular brush. This is a cream contour, guys, and I'm shaping up her nose. I will be applying on the jawline also, and I'll be diffusing it with the help of brush, and also I'll be using the beauty blender to diffuse her contours, right? So cream contouring, and post that of course I'll lock it with the powder contouring. And you can see how I'm stroking out and kind of diffusing the product alongside, so that everything looks very structured and defined and chiseled. So contouring is definitely a game changer when you do it on the right zones, and you do it with the right reason also. Not every face requires contouring, but if it does, you should know what are the right zones to apply, right? So you can see how I have pushed and blended the product. I am starting with the eyebrows. It is from LA Girl. This palette you can get from Nykaa. I'm combing her brows with the help of spoolie, and I prefer powder application. There is a little bit of wax also in this palette. So if you want to make your own pomade, you can mix and match the shadows. They're like appropriate for Indian skin tones, and you can create a pomade out. So it's a very utility and output oriented palette, and it's a value for money. So you can see how I'm, when I'm applying the product, I'm also blending it along. So that way the product gets, kind evenly dispersed and it gives a very blended output. A little bit of blush on the cheeks. It's a powder blush on which I've applied so that it gives a lock to the face. And now we'll be starting with the eyes. So I'm preparing her eyes. I'm adding a little bit of concealer, and on this concealer I'll be adding a translucent powder so that the eyelid is ready and it does not crease up. When you add powder, it could be a loose powder, baked powder, any powder of your choice and availability, but it will make the eyelid creaseless. So it's also a very important point, guys. So use your blender, pack your product into the eyelid, and of course make sure that you add powders. It's very important step. You will see just little bit, not a lot of powder, just little bit. So we will be doing that, and I will be putting the powder under her eyes also. Why I'll be doing that? Because I will be, it's for beginners. It's a very important thing when you are a beginner and when you're doing the eye makeup, you've already done the base. You want to make sure that there's nothing which falls off on the under eye area. So the best way is to take your translucent powder, and with the help of brush, I've used a fan brush. You can see how I'm placing the product under the eyes. It's a powder. So once our eye makeup is done, I will dust this off. It will also help me to do the under eye baking. So there are two things happening alongside. So you only take this call on skins which does not have texture. If you have client who has fine lines and wrinkles, do not do this step. Make sure do not do this step, because if you keep the powder for a very long time, under eye becomes very dry and kind of not the right way it should be. So assess the client's under eye texture and accordingly take your call. So I've kind of now applied a highlighter color on her brow bone, and I'll be using it little bit on the inner corner just to open up the eyes. So this is a palette from P. Louis, and I will be using a soft brown color to create a transition. So always soft brown, you know how it is a very safe bet. You can use coral families, you can use pink families. These are all very three safe shades to create transition colors, to create contours on the eyes. It helps to make the eye look bigger, and of course blending is the key when you're doing eye makeup. The brush should be absolutely very kind of fluffy and good quality, so that the product gets nicely distributed and diffused on the eye. There shouldn't be any kind of a deposit of the product. So your brush plays a huge role. Fluffy brush should be of the utmost good quality, because that will help you to put less effort and get there as a kind of a wow kind of a result. So your brushes play a huge role when you are doing professional makeup. You can see how softly I'm going to and fro like a car wiper motion, and I'm ensuring that there's a perfect balance and symmetry on both the eyes. That you have to keep checking as a pro artist. You have to make sure there is always a balance on the shades, on the product which you have applied should be completely identical, right? So post that, I will be using a little bit of foundation on both the eyes. This foundation, it could be any concealer foundation. You can see how I'm blending it. It will be acting as a base for my eyeshadow. Why I'm doing that? Because I have decided to go for a very nice neutral shimmery golden undertone kind of a eyeshadow for her. So I want a base so that the color shows up very beautifully. So you can see how I'm packing now very soft golden kind of a shimmery shade on her eyelid, but I've applied a base which was of concealer or foundation, anything you can use, but very little. So over that, when you pop and you top it up with your eyeshadow, the the kind of pop out of the color, the payoff of the color goes multifold, and it looks very nice and it stays for a very longer time. So all of these reasons, you can do this step. You can take this as a way you move forward with your eye makeup. When you're using neutral colors, or when you're using light colors, you can always do this little bit of concealing, adding, and then topping up with your eyeshadow. That really enhances and pops out the eye makeup beautifully well. So you can see how I've applied this golden eyeshadow. Now I will be applying a little bit of course I'll be blending the eye makeup, a little bit of mascara before we move forward. And in the meanwhile, I'm dusting off the powder, because I feel the sufficient time is being given for under eye baking, and we have kind of done our eye makeup also. So this is not required, so I've cleaned off the powder under the eyes, right? So this mascara is from Revlon. You can use any mascara. I prefer, before applying the lashes, I prefer applying mascara because it really helps to remove all the powders and foundations which might go and sit on the eyelashes. So they kind of, show up under your false lashes. So it's good to apply a little bit of mascara, and you can do it post your lashes application also. If you want to blend it, that is also absolutely fine. So I'm using a very soft subtle lashes. You can go for a bold one also, but this look is very subtle, so we are going for a very soft subtle lashes. These are from the Little Secret, a brand in Instagram. If you want, I can share the handle and you can go and reach out to them. So you can see how I've applied the lashes. Duo is the best glue, guys. You should not compromise on the adhesive, the latex, because it really is very important, and the stay also depends on the quality of the adhesive, the quality of the latex you're using on the for the lashes. I'm using this MAC shade and little bit of this product with the help of smudger. I'm using a beautiful kind of a shadow on the eyelid because I'm not going for liners. So I'm just kind of diffusing it on the eyelid. It will give a very soft kind of a wine pink kind of a shade, and golden and this kind of a shade goes very well. The shade is Potent, P4 Potent from MAC, and the best part about MAC eyeshadows are they do not fall off. So I really like MAC eyeshadows for small little detailing and the small little touch ups, because of they do not fall off. So that's the beauty of MAC eyeshadows. So you can see how with the help of smudger brush I'm creating a liner and kind of little winging it out, and you can see the color, it's wine pink, and it will really settle down very beautifully on the eyelid. You can use a liner also as well. You can go for any kind of liner you prefer, but I have chosen this particular shade because it's going to look very beautiful. It's a very nice deep wine maroon pink, everything together, and it looks very classy and beautiful. So you can see right now her face is kind of not very done, but yeah, kind of done. So I'm using a white nude pencil. This is from Regord, and I'm applying it to ensure that her eyes start looking more bigger, because when you use nude pencils, automatically it helps you to make the eye look bigger. So I've purposely used this white pencil, and it is from Recode, and it's very output oriented. You can go from a pencil from Inglot, MAC. There are many brands who make nude eye pencils, and it really helps to enhance the size of the eye. So whenever you want to increase the size of the eye of any of your client, so make sure that you use a nude pencil. So it helps to pop up the eyes very beautifully well. So once I've done that, I will be also adding a mascara on her lower lash line, because that will also accentuate her eyes and make her eyes look very bigger. So you can see how the eyes are looking little bigger as we have applied this kind of a nude pencil. And the same time here we will be kind of adding a little bit of eyeshadow on the lower lash line, not too much but little bit, so that it adds more glamorous effect to the under eye makeup. And the choice is yours. You can go for a brown, you can go for a pink. I have opted for a brown eyeshadow, and little bit of smudging and kind of smoking it out under the eyes. It makes the eye look more bigger, more defined, and really gives that extra glam to the eyes. So I've done that, and any dust off you need to do, feel free. And I'm using now the same mascara from Revlon, and I'm kind of applying that mascara to blend her lashes as well, and I'll be topping this mascara on her lower lash line as well, because it adds more definition to the eyes. So I'll be doing it on both the eyes, and you can see how, as it is small little steps, they keep on adding to the final look. So everything is more about how you define and how you give finishing. If you have any smashes, don't worry, let it dry off, and then you can remove it with the earbud. So do not remove any smashes immediately, let it dry off and then you start, removing it. That's also a very important point while you're doing lower lash mascara, because most of the people face this problem. And now I see her face is little kind of not kind of discolored around the mouth area, which happens, it's a very normal phenomena. So I've used a concealer that is 626D. It's a warmer one and I've applied it around the mouth area, because I felt after doing everything still her around the mouth area was looking little darker to me. So before applying powder, of course we can do any changes, so I went ahead and I applied little bit of that concealer to brighten up this entire around the mouth area. Most of the Indians, we have this problem, and when you see this happening, do not ignore it guys. Add your concealer right there and then, a little bit with the help of fingers, so you can see how immediately it has kind of corrected that area, brightened up at that area, because if I would have left it, it would have not looked good, it would have made the makeup turn grey around the mouth. So I'm adding a little bit of powder also. It's a translucent powder from Makeup Studio, and now I feel that yes, we have kind of achieved a look where that pigmented area which was showing up around the mouth kind of has got settled. So I'm adding little bit of blush on more. So a lot of back and forth you keep doing guys when you are doing a makeup. It's never about okay, one step done and you are like kind of arrived. You have to keep on going back and forth till the time you are happy and till the time you feel that everything is kind of in proportion and aesthetics are well taken care of. So I'm applying this pencil. It is from Chambord. It's a brown color pencil. I'm going to outline it, because if you outline your lips well, it gives a very easy access for you to define. It has a proper boundary area, so you do not go out and you go perfectly all right. So it really helps to kind of shape up the lips very nicely. It's a brown shade, and you can use any brand, not necessary, but it should be smooth, it should be buttery. If it is not smooth and buttery, then you will have a lot of problem in your movements especially. So this is how we go about shaping up her lips. And now I'll be using a nude lipstick, and the palette which I'm using is from Anastasia. And before we actually start doing it, I'll just go and have a look, everything is going all right. So I've taken this little earbud and diffused her lip liner, because when you do your lips, lip liner should not be very stark. I'm going for a nude lipstick, so I've kind of diffused her lip line, so it has gone more softer. So you can use this method, you can use this technique, you can take a earbud and do this, right? It really helps to shapen up very beautifully well. And now I'm taking this nude color from my palette. It is from Anastasia, and it's also very beautiful mauve nude kind of a shade, and I'm topping up with a liquid lipstick. And again, there are like two families, but they're both nude families. Nude lipstick is my favorite when it comes to bridal. Plus, whenever you're applying a cream lipstick, always make sure you're topping up with a liquid, because liquid ones, they have more longevity, and when you're doing a bridal makeup, you need that. You can see how the lipstick has made her look so beautiful, and we are kind of very close to the final look, and you can see how stunning she's already looking. I'll be adding a little shade of gloss, because I feel it'll add more glam to her final look. So it's a gloss from it's a gloss from LA Girl. It's a very affordable gloss, and it's got that very nice transparent shine to it. And you can see how I'm packing the gloss, and it has started to give her a very glamorous look, and a little blending of the lips so that the gloss kind of gets settled and the lipstick does not smudge. Now I'm using a pencil pointer brush to define her outline and make sure everything is blended, because most of the people have this problem of dealing with the lipstick, especially the outer line. So when you use these kind of fluffy brushes, they are actually eye brushes, but I love to use them to clean and define the outer lip line. So feel free, whenever you are feeling that you're not able to do it with your lipstick brush, take any pencil pointer brush which is your eye pencil, eye brush, eye makeup brush, and use it freely. Of course, we can clean it later, and use it freely to define the outer shape of the lips, because that is something which is very important and most of the people find problem doing that. So feel free to do this step and you can see how stunning our bride is looking. She's worn all the jewelry. We have set her dupatta. She's looking as stunning as she could, and if you have any doubts, feel free to reach out.